I think the coach plays a major role to bring this mindset, because human beings, right? Machines, right? Listen to whatever we say, but human beings don't listen, right? So we have to definitely give the time to coach people to understand what is it. We have to project the outcomes. When we project the outcomes, right? They start following agile.
Okay, I have one more question before we pass it on to Ram, right? So, in the day-to-day life, can we follow any innovation methodology or anything innovation? Is innovation, I have one more question also, I think all of you will have in mind. Is innovation is something, doing something new or doing something different or both?
Okay, so I would say from an HP example, it is like improving from what they did. So there is also this company which is TUI, right? A tourism and travel company. They were just an agency earlier. But then, so we all think that when we do digital transformation and innovation, it is just, we are changing the entire business, right? It is not changing the business, it is also improving from where we are, right? So TUI, so they actually said that they will bring in options because of these COVID times. They brought in options where they can do both in-person as well as online engagements, right? So that is actually whatever they have, right? They changed their completely operational stream, they changed, where they can bring in more of tourism also into
So
the picture.
according to you, it is doing something different.
Something different and unique, right? By thinking creatively.
Both in that case you are telling.
Exactly. So some organizations do something new. Some of them actually improve from what they are, right? So for example, Zappos, they have a culture itself to have a fostering innovative culture. So they start new. Some organizations like TUI, HP, right? They improve from where they are.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, ma'am. So Ram, I have a question for you. Yeah. So according to you, right, what is the topmost skill other than the innovations what you have told, and why?
See, there are a number of skills that we say a leader need to have. Again, the concept of leadership is very broad. There are a lot of models, a lot of theories that we talk about. But at the end of the day, when I train our people on leadership, right, one thing that I tell people, be yourself. And it is not just for leader, but that is true for every one of us. That fundamentally being honest with ourselves, being following the integrity becomes extremely important, not only for a leader, but for every person. Right? Without this, what happens? We see a lot of movie stars, we see a lot of false leaders who preach something on the stage, but who go back and not follow it. I think with all the experience that you have, you should have come across two types of leaders, right? One type of leader with whom we really want to work with. Even though the work is hard, it is the team, it is the leader that makes a team stick or not stick. I think all of us know about the recent attrition in the IT industry. A lot of people left. But surprisingly, when we did the analysis across, we found that there are certain specific teams, even though the work was very difficult, and we were planning or predicting for a lot of people leaving that because of the work, surprisingly they stuck together and they did not leave. In fact, even in my own teams 3 years back, to say, there was a strange production problem that nobody understood what caused it. And we were all, it was a P1 incident, lot of escalation from the customer perspective. I hope all of us here understand about the IT terms. If not, I can give a different example. So there were work pressure. And needless to say, we kept fighting with it, not understanding what to do. And without even telling anybody, the team came together on their own, including weekends, including late nights. They stuck together until it was fixed. Again, the problem was a very strange, weird problem. Not about it, but you don't have to push the team continuously as long as the leaders are seen to be genuine, as long as the leaders are seen to be caring for the team perspective, number one. So how to exhibit that authenticity? What does that authenticity really mean? Two things. One is what we call show and tell. A leader should do what he or she teaches others to do. For example, if you ask everybody to come on time for a meeting, you have to be there on time. There is no point in you coming late, or when you ask everybody to work on an off hours, let's say a weekend, you have to also be there personally in front, leading them. That's what we call as a leadership, or leading from the front. And such people are the ones where the team would want to come together and work with them realistically. So that's the first thing that we call as show and tell. First, show them how to do, and then tell them what they have to do. That's the first part. The second part, a good measure of a leader, as I call, a metric that we use is called say-do ratio. Now, many of you know this as a team measure. Whatever the team commits in the planning versus what the team delivers, we measure it called say-do ratio. Whereas in my organization, we measure leaders using this parameter of say-do ratio in the sense that whatever you commit to the team, are you meeting that commitment? Because I have seen people just like that, like a politicians, giving any and all kind of commitments, and when you don't meet your commitment, right, it is not about simple factor that you go back on your words, but it breaks something very, very valuable. What is it? The trust, right? And for any leader, there are two important levers which is fundamentally needed to become a leader. First lever is called trust, and the second lever is called respect. When you lose either trust or respect, you stop becoming a leader. Maybe you can have the role or the title, but nobody follows you. You are not a leader anymore when you don't have the trust of the team or when you don't have the respect of the team. So the first aspect of that is the trust factor. And for the trust factor, that authenticity, that integrity becomes extremely important. And that's what we tell all our leaders. Now, when I train leaders on this, interestingly, there was one leader who stood up and said, look, I am trying to be very honest, Ram, but nobody is working in my team. Nobody wants to come to my team. But I want to be very honest as how you explained. And then I stopped the person and said, can you explain what you mean by that? No, when I say I am honest, I mean whatever I think, I tell them. Simple, right? Whatever I think, I just spit it on their face. And then nobody likes me talking like that and they run away from me. Now, being honest and being rude are two very different things, right? So when we say being honest, again, particularly in Tamil Nadu, of all the people, there is a whole set of Tirukkural that's dedicated to what is honesty, Vaimai. And there's a whole 10 and there's a 23 Kurals which are related to the integrity, the personal integrity of everywhere. So specifically being honest, being yourself is all about caring for the team, being genuine, doing whatever you ask others to do to the team, and being a role model. In all the terms, what we call a leader, what we call a good leader, you have to be a role model to your team.
So Ram, can I get short here? I have a question. You're talking about the being honest, okay? Let's say that I'm not going to give him promotion next year. I have decided, okay, I want to give it to him. I mean, I want to, his KPI is very good. I can give one promotion to only one person, right? Being honest, can I go and tell him, boss, you are not going to get a promotion next year, boss, you are going to get it. Can I tell that? Is that being honest? Is it being something else?
That is exactly where I was coming to in terms of what to say, what not to say, one, and when to say, when not to say.
How to say.
Right?
How to say.
Exactly. A leader has to understand the art of communication, and if you get into that area of communication, that's a one-day topic.
That's right.
Actually, even more than a day topic in terms of how to communicate. In fact, for all of you, there is a very good book that I would recommend called The Non-Violent Communication. If you want to become a leader, right? I've read that book, and a lot of things that are mentioned in that book are very relevant and very valuable for anyone in the middle management who aspires to step up and then become a leader. Because communication is important, but that has to be non-violent in the sense it should not hurt the other person. And how you tactfully communicate. For your question, a direct answer in terms of what to communicate. Again, first of all, I would say that as a leader, pre-deciding something without basing it on the true performance of a person is not right, not ethical, one side of it. But in case if you already know something and you do not want to communicate it for the other person, you can find out other ways to motivate a people. And that's a longer topic in itself, because what motivates one person may not be the same that motivates other person.
So in that case, Ram, can I get the trust from these people? Maybe I give a promotion, he will trust me, right? Because I gave him a promotion. I'm not able to give him a promotion, he may not trust me. But I'm telling both of them truth. I'm trying to be honest with both of them. How can I deal with this?
Okay, giving promotion is something that is beyond your control, right? If I be honest to the team, I would tell them that, look, I am not the overall boss of this whole organization to decide or promote everybody in the organization. There are certain criteria. However, as a leader, you genuinely care for your team, which means if you are unable to meet the needs of the other person,
right,
then you do not have any moral right to hold the person unnecessarily. let go, you will have more people coming in. In fact, sometimes even better people come than who you let go, because it's all a cycle. The more you give, the more you get. And at least personally, I believe in this karma theory. What goes around comes around. What we call the kindness boomerang. You keep giving kindness and you keep getting kindness, or you keep helping people, you receive help from unexpected sources at anywhere. So same way, if you are unable to meet or honor what is the expectation of one of your team members or your subordinates, by all means don't try to manipulate the person. And the moment you start manipulating somebody and they get to know about it, right, you feel sorry for it and they feel much more bad towards you. And that spreads more. It's not about one black dot, but today we live in a world of highly networked individuals where every black dot spreads very, very fast. And before you realize, the entire team would know about what you did. And you stop getting that respect, you stop getting that motivation from your team when you start doing this. So that's my suggestion to anybody, that it is not about doing everything the team wants. Can a leader do? No. No leader, wherever you go, does everything that the team expects. And the more you keep doing, fundamentally we humans have a problem, right? If one need is met, then our needs move to the next level. If that need is met, then it moves to the next level. There is never a stage where somebody says all my needs are met, I'm extremely happy being here. That's the nirvana stage that we don't ever get to. So the more you meet, the more it goes. And that's not the job of a leader to meet everybody. I can quote Steve Jobs here, right? A leader is not a people pleaser. You cannot please everybody as a leader. And if you try to do that, go and sell ice cream. This is exactly what Steve Jobs said. That don't try to do. That's not your job of pleasing people. But being honest and open, or transparency, the very important word there, being transparent with the people is extremely important. Why somebody is not getting promotion? For your example, sir, if you say that person A is being promoted, B is not being promoted, a good leader has to give that right feedback to B, saying that why you are not chosen for promotion. What is in it that A has, which is better than whatever this person is having. It can even be visibility. For example, it's not about hard work, right? We all understand everybody works hard. If you ask me today, are people not working hard? That's a myth. Particularly, there are customers who come and tell us that your people, or particularly your offshore team, is not very productive. Now, when I go and ask the offshore team, is it that nobody is working? People are really working 12 hours and 14 hours, logging hard, including weekend. But somewhere that visibility is missing between what the people do here versus what is being perceived sitting in US or sitting in Australia. That for a lot of customers, it is like the work is just pushed to India, it disappears, and then comes back as a completed work. Now, what happens in between that pushing out and then coming back? They don't see that. They don't understand the offshore team as human beings.
Ram, I'm also seeing a karma over here. What you push back out comes back.
Yes.
Okay, I'm hearing
Welcome
more
back.
like a spiritual, you know.
Welcome back.
Karma, nirvana. Okay, good. So we started with the honesty, then we are going somewhere else, right? Maybe because of the word honesty, we are going everywhere else. I'll come back to you, Ram, actually. So going to Shan, right? Shan, according to you, what are the top skills, topmost skills?
Yeah. So thanks, Maule, for this opportunity. So according to me, what I believe is that one of the hard skill an agile leader need to have is the problem-led leadership skill, or problem-solving mindset, we call that. I would like to give you 5 characteristics and 3 references why I feel problem solving is a very important skill set for an agile leader. Problem solving is it's a mark of a leader. It's an ability to see the problems as opportunities to grow rather than as a threat. It is about saying, how can we do that, rather than talking about can we do it. It's about breaking the problem into small bricks. Instead of looking at a big problem and we cannot solve it, try to break it down, slow it down so that you will get some solution. The leaders who are focusing on problem solving, they work on problems tirelessly. They use scientific methods, initially starting with asking a right question to solve the right problems. They roll up their sleeves, they make their hands dirty, and more importantly, they develop new skill set to create, to fail fast, and implement it and recreate it. So that's what, iterating it. That is what Agile is. One of the flavors of Agile is being iterative.
Sean, I have a question here.
Yeah.
You talk about fail fast and solve the problem early also. It's contradicting, right? When you fail fast,
Yeah.
how problem solving can help there to come out of this?
Yeah. So when
Fail
you,
fast is one of the philosophy of Agile, right?
yes.
Okay. How problem solving fits into this philosophy of fail fast of Agile?
Yeah. So when you solve a business problem, when you don't know, you are starting with some of the hypotheses in place, right? So you want to test different hypotheses, which is you might be using different techniques like design thinking or lean startup, right? So when you use those techniques, you have to do quickly experiment and see that what works for you, what is not working for you. You can use a lot of things like A/B testing or something. So that's how the failing fast will give you the alternative options. Look at different options and move faster, which is the right one for you. Have options in your designs and go with alternative options in that. So that's why I feel that problem solving fit into the fail fast. I will give you the three references.
Actually, in that, we were talking about this design thinking. So that is a great concept, design thinking concept, where you have a problem space and then you have a solution space, and then both of them, we call it as a double diamond approach.
You are connecting innovation now with this.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, understanding the problem is one thing, and then arriving at a solution is another thing. Many times, right, we don't focus on the problem, right? We just don't understand what the customer needs, right? And then we just build something, and then finally we see that that product is not really usable. It goes into a drain. So understanding the customer problems is one thing, and then based on the problems, how do we give a solution is the other space, right? So both of them together, we call it as the double diamond approach, and that is where design thinking concept comes, as he says, which is really about how to solve cruel and wicked problems. That's what it is about.
Yeah, I agree. So I want to give three references why I feel problem solving is a very hard skill for an agile leader. If you look at that agile values and manifesto, so there are three pillars in any empirical process which agile is using. You know that it's transparency, inspection, and adaptation, right? So inspection, adaptation, the driver for I&A is continuous improvement. The driver for continuous improvement is the problem solving. So essentially, the problem solving drives your I&A. And moreover, there is a value talks about at regular intervals, team get together and figure out how they behave and what are the things they want to change, and they'll tune adjust by themselves. So it talks about essentially talks about
Sean, sorry,
I&A.
but short.
Yeah.
Okay, understand which angle you are talking about it. Is there any problem solving techniques are available for me? So other than chunking down the problem into a smaller level and try to solve, that is what we heard. Or is step no, identify the problem correctly and giving the solution, what works for you, do it, PDCA kind of a thing. Is there any other techniques available?
Yeah,
Problem solving techniques.
Yeah, there are multiple techniques. Even the number of agile framework you use, even it is a Scrum, there are a lot of events like retrospective, sprint demos, which help you to do this analysis. You can bifurcate problem solving techniques in two ways. One is qualitative way of solving it and quantitative way of solving it, right? So there is when you go into show and tell, or when you go into retrospective, when you identify certain problems, when you do that, you start with the brainstorming, which is kind of qualitative technique. You have to discuss with people, get ideas, what is the problem, where it is coming from. Then use some scientific methods like 5-way analysis or Ishikawa diagram, fishbone diagram. Try to use some scientific methodologies, and you can use even parallel analysis to figure out which problem is creating 80% of your issues. Then you can.
So Sean, I have a question. You listed on all these techniques. Are you allowed to use all these techniques in Agile?
Absolutely.
Agile means people don't follow anything, no process, nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You are listing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your thought on that?
My thought on that, if you seriously look at it, if you want to be efficient in your retrospective, I strongly believe my coaching style where I tell them have a two retrospectives.
Okay.
One, you collect the data, right? Get the qualitative information, get the inputs from all the people. Then you do an offline exercise using all these techniques. You can use even KP analysis and benchmarking, many more techniques in place, and come back to another retrospective. Think about and discuss about all these solutions and come out with an action items. So generally it is not enough with going with the one retrospective and collecting data and no action items taken out. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. See, retrospective is happening, but team is not improving, all because of that. So there's no action item is drafted, and no one is acting on it.
Okay, we are solving the problem in retrospection. Is there any other way where you can use a problem solving in the agile world?
Yeah. So there are. This is about when you complete this product and deliver this product to customer. There is a problem solving when you begin the project and start the project. Certain techniques you talked about,
Yeah.
design thinking and lean startup. Right? That's where the innovation problems are, getting solved. Actually, there are stages in today's context. Most of the product companies they combine design thinking, lean startup with your agile development. So agile development is becoming kind of a third step. You are starting with the design thinking. There are three steps. You empathize your customer, understand, sitting from their sprint, identify what are the define our problems, and then ideate. Come out of the ideas, right? That's first thing. Once you get an idea, you can use a lean startup for creating minimum viable products. You use the three-stage mechanism like build, learn, build, measure, and learn. Actually, you quickly create. Start coding immediately.
So, Shan, the way you are explaining, Agile is everything about problem solving. That's what you are telling.
Yeah, definitely one of the
Okay.
so
Agile itself is problem solving according to you.
So
yeah,
actually, SAFe gives you that one iteration, okay, which is called an INP, innovation and planning iteration, right? So SAFe provides that, that 2 weeks you will only be thinking about what you want to improve, from this current, 8 to 12 weeks, which what we have done. What is that we are learning and what can we improve upon? And that is where we do a problem solving workshop for around 3.5 hours, with all the stakeholders. We all get together, and as Shan was saying, right, we do brainstorming, and then we come up with problem solving. How do we solve problem with 5 whys? And we also use 5 why analysis, and especially like you have tools like Jira today, right, where we can actually update that and then have those things discussed as part of the retrospectives.
Then I will again go to Vidya. So first you told innovation. Okay, next to innovation, what is the other skill required for a leader? Because we talked about one now, right? Yeah. Now anything else you want to talk? Any other leadership skills?
Definitely, Maulik. I think one of the other thing which every organization is interested in to build that knowledge in the organization, right? We also, in safe terms, I can say it's a continuous learning culture. Yeah. So building knowledge. So how do we really build knowledge in the organization? That is one skill which is really required for a leader. Right? So in the traditional way of working, we were all working on projects, right? So projects has got start date and it has got a stop date, right? And then people come together, they work together, they develop things, then they go back to their own departments. So what happens is knowledge also goes away when they go back, right? So we really don't want people to go back. We want them to be there in that team, long-lived teams, right? We talk about long-lived teams, dedicated people who are there, who improve more on the product, right? So that is the skill which is really required for a leader
So
to
yeah, I
really
have a
build.
question here. Sorry, yeah, I know you are
Please.
going with the flow. I'm tempted to ask question here.
Please, Maulik.
Right? When you say knowledge sharing, is it helpful for training or learning?
I would say it's for both. It is for both.
Okay.
So because what we do is when you
What is
do
learning? What is training? And how?
Okay, so training is we just do it, for a group of people, and then based on the training, right? We just tell them the techniques, on how to do it, right? Or probably not in a very very deeper way, right? But whereas when you do learning, it is like practical learning, right? So you actually see what is happening, you fail, and then you understand from it, you learn. So that actually longs last, right? So one of the things which we do is we kind of nowadays, especially in COVID times, people really don't want to see slides. They are really bored of slides. So they want something which is very interactive, where they can spend very interactive time with all the participants, right? This is where we do something called as activity-based sessions and video-based sessions, Molly. So what we do is we give a video. It's an anti-pattern video, and then the team go through it, and then they'll say, okay, what is that which is an anti-pattern, right? So that is how we ask, what is that anti-pattern, and how do you think that you can do it differently in the right way?
So yeah, I feel that's more like a learning, right?
So it is activity-based learning.
Yeah,
right?
it's a learning at the end of the day, right?
Definitely.
How can you improve the learnability with the people? Say, me as an agile leader, I need to be a learner, I understand it. I need to learn about this one, first one, second one, all the thought leadership and everything, right? But I want to teach the learnability skill to my team members.
Okay,
How
so
can I do it? Is
that's
there any
a
tools
great
available?
point. That's a great point, Modi. So one of the things which we do, I'm coaching the teams now. So I've brought about 1,200 plus people into the agile transformation recently, and we just published a case study also. So really inculcate learning into the teams, right? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So what we do is every sprint, right? One of the questions to ask is, are the teams 100% involved only in building features, right? Or are they also involved in spending time for themselves as part of career building, right? So one of the things which we coach the teams is, don't have 100% allocation only for the features, right? Because 100% utilization means, right, you're not doing anything else. You need to have some slack time, right? We call it as a slack time. About 85% you spend on features, and then you spend the rest of the time in actually learning, right? Learning, because that skill is required. Because when we say knowledge, if you don't have the knowledge, you cannot build great products. If you don't have the knowledge, you cannot be innovative.
Product wise, I agree. But what happened in agile team, right? You are as a leader, right? We are expecting everybody to learn everything. So, for example, he needs to know coding, designing, testing, customer facing.
Wonderful,
Don't you
great
think it's
point.
very difficult?
Great point, great point. I would like to quote an example. So in one of the transformations,
Yeah.
what we used to do is, what the teams used to do is every day, right, 30 minutes, they will spend on knowledge sharing, right? Which is like, I mean, this is a real example which I'm telling you, which has really worked well. It has worked like magic. So they spend every day 30 minutes. Initially, probably they felt a bit difficult, but then it got into their DNA, It became a way of life for them.
Yeah.
And in that 30 minutes, one day the tester will talk about what are all the different test scenarios they will do for a story. And then the other day developer, right, he will talk about what are the different things, how they do developing and how do they create stored procedures, things like that. And over a period of time, what we saw was they were able to play shared roles. But one point to notice, they were also interested to learn, right? People should be interested to learn. Only those people can actually do shared roles, right? So I can say that a tester, he started to write, the test scripts. Usually, right, they will say that, okay, the developers will do it, right? Our job is only a testing role. But Jeff Sutherland, who is the creator of Scrum, when he defined a Scrum team, he said a Scrum team consists of a Scrum Master, product owner, and he said a development team, right? He did not say developers and testers. It's a development team.
Here I have a question. Tim, I don't know how many of you thought through this. Scrum Master talks only about the process or implement the process, correct? No? He becomes a specialist in the process. Product owner talks about the domain. Okay, I'm working in a banking project. I know a little bit of banking and all the things. I'm deep diving it. I'm doing it. Their job is taken. But between the team, right? They say you do everything. How come it is? Product owner talks only about the business domain. Scrum Master talks only about the process. Why should team do everything?
Actually, I'm getting reminded of one thing which the Microsoft, I forgot his name. Okay, I was looking through one video, the Microsoft story, on how they did. It was a case study from Microsoft, and that guy said that every person will own a feature. Each person will own a feature in the development team. It is not that one person will do one story and then he will just do the development part, other person will do the testing part. One person, he owns the entire feature, which means he will take care of development testing until production. So that means that ownership, right? He is very happy to own that feature, and anything which comes on that feature, he is ready to answer, right? That kind of ownership people love, because people love autonomy. People want knowledge workers. This guy, Edward Deming, who's a great American engineer, he says, knowledge workers, right? They know more than their bosses. And knowledge workers need autonomy, right? They want to do things by themselves. They want to be self-organized, right? So I think that is kind of a thing which really works, right?
But still, I don't know how many of you have convinced on this answer. Do you have any question? Yeah, please.
Isn't that a risk? You are bringing that autonomy and the person leaves.
You want to make?
The person leaves, what do we do?
So that is why we say if the person leaves, then the knowledge also goes away with him, right? So that is why we say we play shared roles in the team, whereas if one person is not there, right, even the other person can do it, right? We talk about collective code ownership in the teams.
Which one are we really promoting?
So we are promoting shared roles. When autonomy is different. Autonomy is allowing the teams to do by themselves. That is autonomy, right? Knowledge sharing is actually shared roles is something everybody knows everything in the team, right? So we.
I think he's asking some question. You want to answer?
So I'll just finish this. So shared roles is actually people know everything in the team. So then you will not have that problem what you said, right? Even one person leaves the team, still the other people are there. They will do it together. But that's what is an agile team. A scrum team, it's not people who have specialized roles. It is people who do shared roles, which means anybody can do anything in the team. So we talk about T-shaped skills here. That is where that comes up. No, nobody has. So some people will have expertise in deep skills in something. Some people and they can have broader skills. The breadth and depth. Right? We cannot have deeper skills in everything. That is true.
So you talked about an individual taking care of the end-to-end package, right? Like having the ownership. And also you highlighted about the transformation that you brought in and training a number of people into the agile, right? So as an agile leader, what are the critical features or the characteristics one should really consider in order to pick the right people into the agile team? So are there any guidance?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the thing is we should take care of whatever skills, right? The technical skills which are required, and then the person should be able to. He should be a good communicator, collaborator. That is very much required, right? Because if you have people who want to work only in silos, then that doesn't help. So people who are very communicator, but we cannot take all that when we recruit, right? So that's where the role of the coach comes, where the coach will be there with the team. The first thing they will really talk to them is about how can they be self-organized, how can they they troubleshoot issues by themselves, right? Because it's a big move, big shift from traditional to the agile world, right? Because in traditional you have people who are micromanaging things, but in agile there is no micromanagement, right? The managers, they don't have to go and be with the teams and tell them that this is what you have to estimate, this is what you have to do. No, that's not required. Team themselves are becoming self-organized. So that is the culture we are promoting, and which is where we are also talking about teams becoming cross-functional, where they have the autonomy, they can build everything by themselves from the requirements to production that the team can take care.
Yeah, that leads to again another question. What he was asking, right? If the people are very cross-functional, what about their individuality?
So when we say cross-functional, it is not that every person will do everything. You will have all the skills in the team. That is what cross-functional team means. You will have all the different skills, but in a team, a person, he need not be something. He will do only UI, and he will not worry about the business logic, or he does only the business logic layer. He will not do the DB layer. We want a person who can do everything, right? Because otherwise, what will happen is you will become a bottleneck. There will be bottlenecks in the team.
Okay.
Yeah, all you are saying is working for a single scrum team. Okay, when we go for enterprise wide, it doesn't work, right? Because you have a solution architect in a safe model. You propose that. Have a solution architect. The solution architect brings a solution. The team just implements it. So when we say the team is self-reliant and they do all the stuff, this is all only for one single team working for 5 people doing maybe a sort of a AMS activity. It will work, right? But when you are talking about a solution for an organization, you don't ask the same team, okay, come with a solution, because they might not be capable of doing that kind of solution for the organization.
Very
so
true.
What you are saying is may work for a AMS team, but might not work for an enterprise-wide solution.
So that's a good point. So which is where we talk about agile release trains, where when we develop solutions, right? We form teams who are all cross-functional teams, but they all work together, right? For example, SAFE talks about an agile release train who are 125 plus people who are going to deliver a solution. So you have a solution architect who will be there, but then the teams will collaborate within themselves, right? Through these big meetings we call as PI planning, and then they collaborate, they understand what is required, and then they work within the team to solve a certain problem.
Actually, I want to touch upon one more point. You talked about the PA, right?
Yes.
Last. Tell me, in service industry, I think most of us are from service industry, right? I don't know how many of you are from product industry. In a service industry, I have noticed at least 95% of the teams use the PA sprint for catching up the what has been missed. I think I'm loud enough. Right? So we are all talking very hypothetically. Theoretically, it all looks so good, right? I understand. Maybe a product company might be doing all this stuff. Okay, when you come to a service company, you have all the challenges. You don't have a connect with the on-site, and you don't have a everyday connect with the client, right? We all work through a proxy product owner, and that guy, when you go and ask him, hey, I have a query, I have an impediment, that guy says, okay, I'll check with the client, and he's going to come back to me next day. I lost a day over there. So what happens? You have spillover stories. It keep mounting, and that is what you use for your PA. In whatever coming out of the PA, you use it on the innovation sprint, right? So that's gone. It looks theoretically, it looks so beautiful.
Yes, yes.
I really don't know whether it is implemented in a service company.
Okay, it's a very interesting topic. I know that's why I induced all our thoughts actually. I'll come back to you. We'll answer it actually. Yeah. Any other questions? You want to
I
ask?
can address that. Let's close it.
Okay, please.
Part.
You want to address it?
See, okay, first I'll add a disclaimer. So I am a SAFE coach, or what we call SAFE program consultant, or SPC. I'm one of them. Okay. And I have run multiple program increments. I have initiated a lot of our teams, and as you rightly said, sir, there are good teams, there are average teams, there are bad teams. So not that SAFE is like a magic wand that solves everybody's problem, makes all programs work perfectly. No. None of the frameworks in the world can do that. At the end of the day, the success or failure largely relies on the team. And when I say the team there, it includes the customer. Because customer is also part of a team. So there are customers with not a good agile mindset, and that hampers everybody in the team. Collectively, as Sir was mentioning, that it is an anti-pattern that we call. Right? There are multiple anti-patterns. In whatever he said in 3 minutes, I can pick up 3 anti-patterns, but that's not the point. Saying that, hey, that's wrong, this is wrong. No. Every anti-pattern, when you go to and talk to the team, they do it for a purpose. Nobody wants to violate the rules. Nobody wants to intentionally do something that's wrong, what others say. But something is being done because they are forced to do that in that way. There is no better alternative. Either there is a lack of awareness, or there is no better alternative available to the team that forces the team into an anti-pattern. And that is where, as Vidya was rightly mentioning, we need coaches. We need good coaches who can see it's a mess of a problem. It's not one problem that causes the situation that you talk about, sir. There are multiple issues which are interconnected with each other. For example, one part is the product knowledge or the service knowledge, the domain knowledge that we call, should be there at offshore. And if that is not there, and you are completely relying on on-site for every clarification, that back and forth delays overall, and these delays accumulate to extent. That is one. If this is the reality, then we have to be careful what to commit. In such situations, what we normally tell the team, you know you don't have knowledge, you know there is a lag or dependency with clarification, don't commit for 80% of your load or 90% of your load and struggle. If this is the reality, come down, cut it down, commit only to 60 to 65, and then checks and balances available, what we call uncommitted objectives in SAFE, from a SAFE definition. So there are multiple options that are there. I can give at least 3 options to you on how that can be handled. And to answer you, sir, I run agile teams which are near perfect according to how SAFE talks. In theory, it works very well, and I work in a service industry too. Pure offshore with a US-based on-site team. And thankfully, one of my team is in the SAFE video itself. Our people have come in that video of SAFE training material, saying that look at that team, they run it beautifully. So it works. If you cannot run it successfully due to various reasons, you can bring in the coaches who can help to set it right. So we cannot blame the process as wrong when something cannot be followed for different reasons.
Okay.
Actually,
Thank
just
you.
one point.
Yeah.
So SAFE actually it, claims that the benefits, right? Like you will see so much percentage of business satisfaction, you will have less defects. But all that is possible, like what Shan said, if we follow the proper safe model, right? Otherwise, organizations will say they are following safe, but they don't do PI planning, right? They are following safe. They don't have innovation innovation and planning iteration. They feel it is a waste of time. Then safe doesn't work, right? So if we do according to whatever it says, right, definitely we can get the fruits and benefits of it.
Okay.
See, the beauty of Agile
Please,
is
please go ahead.
one line.
Yeah, please.
See, the beauty of Agile is none of the frameworks are perfect. None of them will fit everybody. I have seen 2 customers recently who have come out of SAFe. They were practicing SAFe for 3 years and they decided that SAFe does not work for us. For our situation, our culture, our context, SAFe is not relevant. They come out of it and now they are adopting a hybrid model called a way of working, which is based on ING's model. It's called PACE for some of you. It's coming from McKinsey. So there are customers who go from X to Y, Y to Z. At the end of the day, in my opinion, the whole way is about exploring what works for you. What works for my neighbor may not work for me. What works for some customer. That's why we say something beautifully in Agile. What is a best practice for one team can be a lessons learned for another team. You cannot blindly copy paste that is working well for that team can be replicated exactly. That worked in a waterfall model. There were common best practices, there were common templates, there were common checklists, there were common lessons learned. That common concept is breaking in Agile. That every team is unique, every customer is unique, every portfolio is unique. And you have to contextualize Agile for according to your needs and not the other way around. You cannot blindly follow a framework and expect results or success, but tweak it according to how you want. And that's where we call something called way of working or WOW. Every customer defines their own way of working according to what they expect out of the agility.
Okay.
I would
So
like
good.
to add one thing from the
Yeah.
perspective of now you talked about the service industry. Then coming to the product industry like Mahindra and Mahindra, we delivered XV700. In that one we could see as a customer we are from the suppliers. The way we demanded, the things have moved very greatly because the leader is like that, who is really demanding. At the same time there are suppliers. Whatever you do, they are like that.
Right.
So we have both side challenges. So as a way to success is whoever is trying to lead, as you said, the leader has to be agile. And there will be customers and who are lethargic. You have
Always.
to motivate them.
So it leads to one more thing, right? Agile is not the solution for all your problems. We are trying to solve every problem of us through Agile.
So we had
Right? Yeah.
thousands of issues.
Right.
We all work through them in a leader having a mind.
Absolutely.
Even in the COVID situation, the team all visited to the supplier ends
Right.
to see the status, how it is, what it is, with all safety keeping in mind of the team. And at the same time, not letting the timeline slip to a great extent, but not compromising on the quality.
That's
And
great, sir.
pushing
In fact,
each
you are
and
adding
every
value to the
supplier.
topic, right? Leadership characteristics.
Pushing each of the
Good.
supplier.
Yeah.
There is a very small supplier and there is a best in world class supplier. Both type of people have the problems. So we have to have that
Vendor
balance.
management, supplier management is again one more
Very much,
thing.
very
It's a big topic by itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
That
So,
is-
sir, he is asking question. Okay, please. Yeah. Okay. A little bit louder, yeah.
Are there real-life examples where agile transformation has worked successfully outside the IT industry?
Are there any examples beyond the IT industry where it worked?
I can cite a lot of examples from my own organization.
Please go ahead.
Okay. If it is fine, I just stand up. Slightly more comfortable standing rather than sitting in a chair. If this is okay to. See, agility at the end of the day is a mindset that we all read and understand, but we don't appreciate as much as reading them. See, personally at home, I'll say my own family situation. Right? Today, the way we run our family at home, we use a lot of agile principles. Right? Individually, if you talk about leave everything, I'll talk my own personal example. So the way I try to improve myself, there's a concept of weekly sprints, where at the start of the week I decide what is the priorities, what do I want to get done this week, what should I learn, and put a backlog saying that this is my top priorities for this week. And it's a backlog because it can keep changing. For all of us, the work can keep coming in. At every day when you go to office, you get some new priorities, changing things, which is why the backlog is a continuously evolving thing that we talk about. 1 week, at the end of the week, we stop and retrospect. How did I pass this week? Did I achieve my priorities? Did I learn anything? Was I useful to somebody? Because in my role as a coach, the first reason every coach has to be beneficial to the team, add value to the team, add value to the customer, add value to the organization. So what value have I added in that week? What did I learn in that week? There's a retrospective that happens at the end of every week. It's not only to me, but the same thing that I have taught my children to. Today, if I go home, the children are more or less self-organized. There is a clean Kanban board in each of their wardrobes that they handle their homework with minimal follow-ups, and both of them are teenage children that I'm talking about, 16 and 15, where they run nearly on their own with as reasonable discipline that you would expect at a family. So there is a blog, not only me, I just spoke about it in one of my training programs, so that inspired a number of other people who tried it, and I can show the links of a lot of blogs, even in LinkedIn, from many of my organization coaches who have tried applying this at family, and it works so beautifully. The principle of agility is universal. That's one. Now for your question, we have applied it in Agile, we have applied it in admin. Simplest example, during COVID, SBWC is a terminology, I'll not use it here. We were forced to suddenly relocate all the people to home. Just in the March 2020, if you notice, that time we did not have a lot of laptops. Everybody were used to working from desktops at office till the pandemic hit us. That was in March 2020. And from a business continuity perspective, there was a need to move everybody back home, including all the big desktops has to be shipped to their own people. And the entire admin team was run purely in an agile way. We brought the infrastructure team, we brought the admin team together, and we were able to minimize the total turnaround time as well as save a lot of cost in enabling the whole. We talk about 6 lakh people, the size of organization like TCS, at least 2 lakhs plus at offshore that we are talking about. With minimal disruption to customers, we were able to get everything smooth and sorted, settled within a month of time. And that is not possible unless you adopt the principles of agility outside the agile area. Now, shipping this to or shipping desktops to home has nothing to do with software development. It's a pure administrative activity. Enabling laptops. Today, if a new joiner joins, we are able to arrange for laptop on day 1 for them at home. And how is the whole processing cut short? Again, applying the agile principles. There's a lot of lean also involved. When we say agile, unfortunately, a lot of us think agile means Scrum. Agile means safe. No. Agile is a concept that is far beyond all this. We apply lean, we apply Scrum, we apply safe, we apply design thinking as Madam talked about. Lot of techniques come into agility as the different enablers. But the principles are 2 levels above everything. And those principles are really valuable to apply it in HR, in admin, in legal, marketing. You name any department in TCS today, if you go and talk, if you have your friends in TCS, go and talk across any departments, they will say that they are applying Agile. And here is how they were coached to apply Agile outside the software development area.
Okay, thanks Ram for the detailed discussion. So next question is also for you, right? You talked about the previous one. What is according to you, right? Next leadership characteristics. One more if you can share.
So I would pick many, but during the discussion, something interesting struck up to me. That today we are facing with one key problem of motivating people. See, we are leaders, right? So we can afford to become a little bit self-motivated. If we lose our motivation, then there's a bigger problem everywhere. We can't even survive, right? Every day going to office becomes a drag if we lose the motivation. I'll not even come to that part. That's a 1 hour topic. Now, assume that you are motivated, but your team members are not motivated. Today, I believe most of you in this room, if I ask you to put your hands up, are you facing challenges motivating your team members? How many of you face the challenge? Can you please raise your hand? That every day I struggle to keep my teams motivated. This is a genuine problem that we face across the industry today, not only software, in any industry that you go, how to keep my teams truly motivated, how to get them focused on the results, what we call the winning mindset. how to align them towards one common goal, one common vision. And for this, again, we have a whole set of principles that we apply in one of our leadership programs. I run a program called Alex. It's called Agile Leadership Experience Program. And we tell all the leaders that, look, unless you become agile, agility is like a rubber band. We can train everything to the team, we can stretch everybody. The moment they see the leader not agile, it shrinks back. The moment you leave the team, immediately they go back to the old state. Only 2 weeks after all the training team commits, agrees that we will all follow agile, we are all enthusiastic, motivated. After 2 weeks, they are back to the old state. What is wrong? The leader is not agile. This is what we have seen from our experience. And that is why we started focusing that first leaders, you have to be agile only, then we will go down to the team to make them agile. And I run this program called Alex overall to help leaders adopt this agility mindset in the organization. And we talk about, I think Madam beautifully talked about autonomy. So overall, I would encourage all of you to read a particular book called Drive. And that book is written by an author called Daniel H. Pink or Dan Pink. So that is also covered in SAFE training. SAFE adopts it. There is also a good TED talk by the same author and even a YouTube videos, multiple YouTube videos by the same author, again related to the knowledge worker concept, where they talk about how to motivate people, what really motivates us. And there are 3 dimensions of motivation. See, traditionally, we used to motivate using monetary things like promotions, like on-sites, right? And nowadays, if you see across the industry, these levers are drying up. You don't have options to promote people so regularly. You don't have options to send on-site because every customer pushes work to offshore. And especially after pandemic, the customers have realized you don't have to really be at on-site for getting the work done. So that understanding has come for many customers today. And wherever we had some 30% of the team on-site or even 40% of the team on-site, the same customers are telling us we need only 10% here, send the remaining people back. And every customer is pushing for increased offshore leverage by the margin perspective. And on the other side, I have the team members waiting in queue, when will you send me? When will I get my flight ticket? Right? Every day there are people queuing up like a ration shop asking, when are you going to give me my visa? When can I travel? So there is a complete imbalance that is happening in the industry today, where customers push more and more. Aspiration is more, the queue is getting longer. Earlier 5 are waiting, now today 50 are waiting to go. And for the last person, by the time they go, they will even retire before they go on site. That's the reality today that we are facing. So we are not able to motivate people saying that I will promote you, I will send you on site. No, unless I tell a lie to them, right? It's not going to work. So if I have to keep them motivated, I need to apply some different approaches, how to keep motivated. So from my experience, I can talk about 3 things that helps our team to be motivated. Again, from numbers, all of you know that my organization at least continues to remain as the lowest attrition as percentage of margin. And not only that, there are some techniques that really work within our organization. The first thing that I have seen it work is purpose. And when I say purpose, at the end of the day, people don't work purely for money. Money is a motivator. But beyond money, at least for those who are working in IT or in any reasonable organization, when you don't have money, you don't have any other need. Only need is money. Nothing else is visible to you. At that time, I can't preach any Gyan, Agile training. I'll be like killed and eaten when you don't have money, when you are hungry. But once your hunger, the basic needs are met, the next level need for every person is about some purpose. Am I valuable? Does somebody say that you are good? The need to be appreciated is universally human. And that need is there even for very senior leader. Right? I have seen senior leaders, and once just coincidentally I appreciated one leader. In fact, in one of the one-to-one conversations, I said, look, the team members appreciated you a lot. And I could see that almost his eyes were almost teary. And then I was startled. I said, I didn't scold him. I was only appreciating him. Did I really say something wrong? And then I paused after some time. And then casually, after having a half-an-hour conversation, I said, I did notice that your eyes were a little bit swelled up. Was it anything wrong? Did I say something wrong? Tell me, I'll correct myself. And that person said, look, I have been thinking about this for a long time. Last 3 months, I have been thinking whether for my seniority, am I adding any value or not? Because as Madam was talking about, he He was an agile leader. He enabled the team became autonomous, the team became more or less self-organized, things are all running without him. So the person said, look, even if I take a leave for 1 week, things are running without me. I'm really worried whether they'll fire me now because I'm not needed. I feel I'm redundant to the organization. I have transferred a lot of these things, so that scare was there. Whether am I really adding any value? Do people like it? Do people appreciate it? I was not getting feedback. See, the problem with a lot of us today, we don't have the courage to go and give feedback to our managers. The next level, 2 level ups. Just asking any of you, have you ever tried giving feedback to 1 level above you? Have you ever spoken to a leader saying that, hey leader, I'm inspired by you. You are great. How many of you have gone and spoken to the leaders? Lovely. Because that need is very much there for a number of leaders who feel they are not valued, they are not
I have a question
appreciated.
here. Okay, team is already self-organized and self-managed, right? Why should we motivate them?
Well,
Self-organized, self-managed means they are already motivated, correct?
See, that term is a big myth actually, I would say. Self-organized, self-motivated.
Self-managed.
It is all great to read on paper, right? I am yet to come across, I have met at least more than 1,000 teams in my span. I cover the whole of one vertical in TCS called BFSI, the largest vertical of TCS. I am the overall leader across the globe for that particular vertical. And I have seen hundreds, if not thousands of teams, and I'm yet to come across a team that is perfectly self-organized, perfectly self-motivated, that you don't need anybody external to that team.
So that is also myth, isn't it? Agile, everything is myth.
That's the nirvana state to
Started
aspire
with something,
for.
we are ending with something.
Correct. I will put it like this. That's the nirvana state to aspire for. That you need a goal to go towards, right? I need a destination point saying that, can I reach there? Have I gone there? So, in my opinion, that's like a destination point for you to say that, has my team becomes completely self-automated? On a similar note, I'll say something else. In operations team, a lot of our customers are asking for totally self-healing systems. I don't need production support today. See, in fact, one of the customers, I don't know whether intentionally or accidentally, this was a recent conversation few months back. This customer came in, said that, look, I hate these software people. That's how he started. He was from a retail industry. And the first line he started on meeting us was, I hate these software people. And we were like wondering, what does he want to say now? So he said that, look, you guys are the only guys who take my money to build requirements, right? You inject mistakes in your own code, and then you take my money to do testing for your code, right? And still leak defects to production and again take my money to fix the defects, right? I gave you requirements. First time you are supposed to write it perfectly. You didn't do that. And then once again for all your quality testing, you are eating my money. That's also pardonable in terms of your
Will
process.
I ask the same question to the doctor? I only gave the money, you are injecting me.
No.
I only gave the money, you are giving.
Doctors are also held accountable for the mistakes that they do. Now, today the production support issues which are caused by code, the customer says that, why should I pay you again for it? Because it was first of all your problem to leak, put a faulty code in production that caused the problem. And why do you expect me to pay for that incidents? So that's a whole different argument that came together. We can defend it in a different way, but this customer actually asked us, can you give the whole production support free of cost? Because it's your problem. You built the code, you are supposed to maintain it, give it entirely free. Just think about it. These things are coming up now. Coming back where we got into this, the expectations are changing. See, earlier software used to be like a very special industry, right? It was a niche skill. Only the engineers can come into the software industry. Think about how things are changing today. It's becoming so commoditized. We are recruiting BSc. In fact, many of the companies have started to recruit +2 graduates also. And I don't know, tomorrow we may start recruiting from primary schools also. I don't know.
We are
The way where it is trending.
We do everything, whatever
we
we
don't
want,
know
we'll do
where
it.
we are going to end up.
School students write code, so I guess they are now people
Now
don't
they
need
are
certifications.
Let's go in the basic degree now.
See,
Recently it was
more,
the
I
better
may
code
make a
in
controversial
AI,
statement. Since I'm involved in a lot of hiring, sir, I personally don't believe in certifications. I'll put it that way. There's a widespread misuse of certifications in the industry today. Right? Out of 10 people that I hire with all certifications, I have seen a lot of people put so many letters behind their name. Right? Their name is small, but the letters behind the name is so big. And when I ask them simple questions, they are not able to articulate. And what is the whole point of adding 10 degrees, 10 certifications behind your name when the knowledge is not there inside?
Exactly. So Ram,
Right?
Ram,
So I am
sorry
of
to
that
cut short.
school of thought.
Team, we'll continue our discussion in the coffee. We have one more thing, please. Huh?
No, I just said
Yeah.
companies though they don't even ask people to come to the degree. They hire from 12th standard. And they hire them, they have the rest of the life.
Yeah, you're right actually. Some organization even recruiting 12th standard I heard. Not
Sir, it
only
has
the
started.
PhD. We
No,
first
no, it
talking
has
about
started.
BE and Infosys was recruiting BE without what is that paper. And then they said 3 paper allowed earlier. Okay? And at the time of recruitment 3 papers should be cleared. They said after the recruitment before you go for you are coming out of the thing, no, you need to clear all the paper. And now they are going for a BSc. I'm not just telling that Infosys because the need for the people keeps on going. And we're all going for an agile. So where the organization goes, the agile leader also will go. So we'll go to Shan, next interesting topic. So you told one of the previous topic, right? What according to you, the last topmost skill required for a leader?
Yeah. So what I would like to persuade is another skill the person need to have in agile characteristics is a quality mindset. For anything you deliver, irrespective of the industry, what customer wants is a single word quality, right product to right customer. I would like to even quote from Edward Deming, who says that quality is not come from inspection. Inspection cannot be get into product or service. Quality cannot be inspected in product or service. Quality has to be built in. Right? So there are certain personality characteristics which need for you to be quality mindset. You should be strong enough to refuse a low quality product, either accepting it or pushing to customer. That shows that you have a commitment to quality. You have to look at quality as a long-term perspective. Agile is talking about delivering continuously as a sustainable manner. Quality will not work in a short term. It's like it's equivalent to a brand actually. When I say talk about, he talked about TCS, he talked about Tata. The Tata as a brand has its quality in it. When you say Tata, people always look at some amount of trust associated with that actually. So that shows that that's because of the quality, that brand associated with that, and trust. That trust came because of the quality. Another aspect of quality mindset is prevention. Right? So you need to be preventive in nature. You cannot be reactive all the times. How do I prevent? You should be customer-oriented person, or you should be a root cause oriented person. Understanding the root cause, eliminating the root cause. You will not, fixing the issues will not work for you. The way you eliminate the issues, that's the way to work for you to get into a long term. And why I feel that I would like to take some of the examples from the agile principles and values from different methodologies used. Why quality mindset is very important. So one important value we talk about is the working software. Working software against a comprehensive documentation. What we mean by working software, it is, can you deliver software without quality in nature? So there are two flavors of agile. Without that, we never call that as an agile project. So one flavor is being incremental, delivering incremental value to customer, and second flavor is consistently be iterative and be a sustainable development team. Right? So when I deliver a working software, it means quality in it. Actually. There's another principle Agile says that Agile aims to improve customer satisfaction by delivering them value early as well as continuously. Right?
So
Again, the
Sharon,
customer
sorry to
satisfaction.
cut short actually because of the time.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. You're talking about agile quality mindset, right?
Yeah.
So can you give me two attributes of the quality mindset? Hey, you do this, you are at the quality mindset. Is there anything like that, or that is also agile? Anything to improve the quality mindset? What I need to do?
Yeah, there are
two things, please. Yeah, please.
There are a number of things you need to look at it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to agile, nowadays we are not talking about. We never talk about building a great product. We talk about delivering value to customer. Actually, there are two aspects in it when you deliver the value in it. The product need to be working, and product need to be useful in it. Actually, right?
Okay.
So how do you know that the product will be useful to customer? There is a wonderful value principle talks about simplicity, the art of maximizing the work not done. If you understand that the statement, then that's the quality it starts actually. You don't need to deliver which something customer did not even want. Customer never going to use it for near future, or it is something they're not going to use it for their lifetime. Right.
So
that's
simplicity is applicable for the agile leaders also, right, Shan?
absolutely.
Not only for the agile team, agile engineering team, it's also applicable for agile leaders also. We need to be as simple as possible. Whatever the characteristics we are discussing so far, we can keep going on and on.
Yes.
Shan, if we're talking about the topic actually. So considering the time, yeah, please.
So when we talk about quality, right, immediately what reminds me is is Toyota, right? The Toyota production systems, right? The way they brought in a lot of quality. So in Toyota, right, there is this production line, and then when there is a defect in the production line, immediately the add-on cord gets pulled, and the entire production line comes to a stop, and then people swarm in, they fix the issue, and then it is again put back. The production line is started. You know how many times it happens in a day? 3,000 times, more than that. See, that is why they were able to really give quality products, which is why we say whenever you check in and there is an issue, stop check-in, right? That's why we build the CI/CD, the continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline, and which SAFe recommends as the most important thing which is required, right? It starts, actually automation starts from day one, we say, right? That is why Toyota was able to give quality, right? For them, if there is a defect, right, what happens? What we people do? If there are no defects in a sprint, what do? We say that, oh wow, we've done a great job. There are no defects this sprint. We have solved it, right? We have actually done a great job in maintaining the quality. But Toyota people, if there is no defect, right, they panic. They say, what happened? There are no defects. What's wrong, right? What do you call? Relentless improvement. Always having a constant sense of danger, right? So that is what really leads to quality.
So Vidya, if you are creating more bug also, you are not no bug and more bug, nothing you are accepting. Okay, I know you are agile, so you are not accepting both the sides. Okay, so with this note, actually, we will end up this panel discussion. To summarize in everything, right? You put up whatever be the characteristic of an agile leader, we can summarize in a single word. Maybe servant leader, so far, or adaptive leader. These are all the two words which comes very nearby to all these characteristics whatever we are discussing so far. And thank you very much for PMI Chennai for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
And I would like to say a small note about Mauli. So Mauli has always been a great role model for me. So I've learned a lot of things, and I get inspired by all his speeches and books. And he is also one of the reason I'm here today. So thank you so
I have
much.
not paid anything for her.
Thank you all.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, sir.
For the opportunity.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir, for having a wonderful conversation involving the panelists, and as well as all the people who are in the audience side as well. Thank you so much, sir. My takeaway from this session is agile leadership creates a strong organization. Agile leadership is equal to strong organization. When you want to have a strong organization, you need that sustainable innovation is more important. Don't take the innovation and planning sprint as taken for a task and work on the bugs or take more stories for that. And the say-do ratio for the leaders is something which I would like to inculcate in my organization for my leaders as well, sir. That is a very good thing you have recommended. Non-violent communication, that is a good book which I am going to look for in the Amazon by today. And so we have talked about understanding the problem through design thinking. How do we solve the problems, which is more important. Also, it is all the horses for the courses. It is not like one framework that suits all the teams, which is you need to choose the framework, adapt it, inspect it. If it doesn't work, move on. Be an agile in that area as well. That is a very good takeaway for us. Also, you people were touching about all the agile principles, simplicity, working software. It's more important than building a product and usable. So that is all the very good takeaway. Inbuilt quality, not just for the product, it needs for the leaders as well. It is a very good takeaway. And the leaders to be more proactive to problem solving than be reactive. And the relentless improvement is more important as a whole. Motivating the people is more important. Identifying their purpose. We have touched upon the hierarchy of needs as well. When the people are satisfied with their basic needs, they should look for the purpose. We as a leader look for the purpose, what motivates that person, and improve it. And thank you so much for recommending the